People in their classroom used to stand there and stare at when she got on the wall. You could tell it was she's like, we're like, oh yeah. She did good.
Yeah, she was something else.
Yeah, she was.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I miss them.
Well, you know how I missed Mr. Leonard.
Yeah.
They like to make a shop, they cook and stuff. Yeah, it was awesome. We got to figure and tell them they need to move Larry and Karen around so we have boy, girl. So we look appropriate.
We'd like to call the meeting to order. If you'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll remain standing for a moment of silence. The first item on the agenda is to adjourn the public hearing. Motion Rowe.
Support.
Support Doe to adjourn the public hearing until another date. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have public comments at this time. You're welcome to go to the microphone and give your name and address. And just remember that the person who is doing the minutes, they're not in the room.
Good evening. My name is Joanne McCullum. I live at 1900 Tyler Road in West Willow. And I just want to say that thank you for putting the signs out in my neighborhood to street sweep. I think that was effective in getting most cars off the road, and the streets are looking pretty. I also, we received a grant, the New West Willow Neighborhood Association received a grant from the Ann Arbor Realtors Board called Placemaking. And what this grant is supposed to do is supposed to spiff up the neighborhood parks in neighborhoods where it's underutilized, and it would help the community if more people used the neighborhood parks. So the grant, we were awarded $1,500, and what we're supposed to do with it is to put something in the park that would attract people to come to the park more. So we decided, we talked to some people in the neighborhood. Parents said, well, I would go more and bring my little ones and stay there more if there was shelter where the children place area is. There is a shelter, but they can't see their kids when they're sitting at that particular shelter, and they don't feel comfortable doing that. They like to sit right there and watch the kids. And where they're sitting, the sun is on them, and it's very hot, and they don't stay long. And what happens is, what we've learned, there are fights at the park from older youth, but when there are adults there are no fights. So we thought of a way to attract more adults to the park by requesting a shelter put there in the grant. And we were supposed to partner with another grant, but they pulled out, and that would have been enough money to put the shelter up. So we're left with $1,500. I went to the Park and Rec board meeting and talked to them about it, and they're in favor of it, but they said they have to request, they have to talk to the board about monies for it. So I'm just here to support that decision. I'm not sure how much the shelter would cost because it would have to be commercial, and I'm not that familiar with commercial shelters. But Wayne sent me some samples, and ultimately he would be the one choosing it, knowing what to put out there. So I'm just requesting that you look at that as something very positive for West Willow, and maybe help in the park to cut down on some of the skirmishes and things that we have there. Thank you.
Thank you. The Park Commission usually sends us a letter on action like that.
Okay.
Have you considered a bench with a thing over it? Like benches with,
Um,
instead of the,
instead of the shelter, I need to talk to Wayne again because it's about what, I don't know if they have it. Do they have any of those in the parks?
I don't know.
Because it really, we found some things, but they weren't up to code, I guess, for commercial. So I don't know if they have a commercial one.
Yeah, I don't know. And 1,500 isn't a lot.
It's not. I mean, the other grant that was going to partner with us was almost 3,000, so that would have taken care of it. But they decided to do something else.
So the Park Commission will send us a letter.
Yes.
And they'll work with Wayne and they.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Do they have a drinking fountain here?
No. And we also requested a grill, but if we can just get the shelter, that would be fine.
Well, the shelter behind you is like $30,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, but nothing like that.
Okay.
I mean, what Wayne was pointing out, I think one he pointed out was like 3,500 or something like that.
Okay.
And so you would take 1,500 from that, and that's what we would be requesting.
Hey.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. And we have the minutes of the April 18th work session regular meeting and the April 27th special meeting, statements and checks, and the April 2017 treasurer's report.
Move. Support.
Motion Rowe, support Doe, to approve the consent agenda. Are there any comments or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Attorney's report, general legal update.
Madam Chair, during the work session, I think I did confirm to the board and to the audience that the township did receive the remaining $300,000 payment from RAD and the American Center for Mobility.
Could you turn your microphone on? Little green light.
Yeah, I have it on. Okay. During the work session, I did confirm the township had received the last remaining payment of $300,000, which is the amount that was owed, that remained owed to the township from the $1 million negotiations in regards to the development agreement between the township, RAD, and the American Center for Mobility. So that $1 million was utilized by the township to defray the cost of the Tyler Dam removal, and it also resulted in the township not having to levy a tax against the persons that would be most affected by that removal, which was a good number of our residents in the West Willow and other parts of the township that otherwise would have paid a portion of their special assessment. So that $1 million was used for that purpose and also resulted in not having to do the special assessment district. In regards to issues pertaining to Habitat for Humanity, we continue to close on properties that they purchased through the right of first refusal from the township in 2016. Those two remaining properties are also in our township that were identified in the housing affordability study by the county. Calder Avenue, Elder Avenue, those are the two remaining ones that were purchased by Habitat, which will now be significant resources will be expended to bring those properties up to the township's codes and beyond the township's codes, really, and will be sold to homeowners. I did share with the new trustees some of the letters that were sent out to Catherine McCleary over the previous number of years regarding her position regarding the right of first refusal. And in regards to the Elder Street property, that was the one property where an additional $8,000 was expended by the township and Habitat to complete the eviction process, which she stopped in the middle of doing once we identified that property as being one that we wanted to purchase. So again, more history for some of the new members of our board. In regards to the vacant properties, now that the summer months are here, you're seeing more and more administrative search warrants being executed by the Office of Community Standards, and there seems to be more of a pattern now of single-family homes that while they're not on the verge of going into a tax foreclosure, they're still having a number of those that have been owned by banks and then have been just simply sitting in a limbo for a number of months and sometimes even a year. And so we're still trying to identify those, get those properties registered, make sure they're going to be maintained, and more importantly, that they actually be sold to homeowners if possible. And we're also trying to hook them up with habitat in areas which they want to expand their model. So we have firefighter negotiations that are still going on. Mike Razik's office continues to deal with a number of issues pertaining to the site plans for ACM, Ben Carlisle, and our engineers are continuing to review these site plans. They are still holding fast and firm to the December 1st deadline, and we continue to turn over those plans in a very, very quick and timely fashion. So there's a lot of issues going on, from neighborhood stabilization to redevelopment to repurposing our older commercial districts. E-Course Road continues to have one that has a lot of focus on. You may have seen the former Forbes Cleaners. It continues to be in disrepair. That is on the county's foreclosure list that will be auctioned sometime this summer. And again, as each day goes by, it gets worse looking, quite frankly. But right now, we've identified that, and we've recorded the violation, so anybody that's going to buy that is going in there with the knowledge of what has to be done to bring their property into compliance. So there's a lot of things coming your way, a lot of good things are coming your way, but at the same time, everybody's staying very, very busy. So, thank you.
Hearing none, we'll go to new business or to the amendment. Number 8, Clerk Rowe.
I have a motion to increase the general fund budget by $257,491. That's for the Stantec Engineering for Tyler Dam and PTO payouts, and also money for the Washington Avenue easements for the sidewalk project. Increase that to $9,387,436 and improve the line item changes as outlined. Decrease the Housing and Business Inspection Fund by $445, also PTO to $320,069, and approve the line item changes as outlined. And increase the Building Fund budget by $888, also PTO payout to $730,510, and approve the line item changes as outlined. And increase the Law Enforcement Fund by $1,776 for PTO payouts to $7,026,743, and approve the line item changes in that fund also as outlined, and increase the Compost Fund by $3,575 for PTO payout to $530,109, and approve the line item changes as outlined. I would so move the budget amendment.
Support.
Motion Rose, support Wilson. Any questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is authorization to approve the consent judgment between Lamar Advertising in Michigan and the Charter Township of Ypsilanti. Attorney Winter.
Madam Chair, this is a lawsuit that was filed by Lamar Advertising last year. The insurance carrier of the township assigned the primary defense of this case to Plunkett Cooney, Dave Otis, the attorney. This case arose out of a request by Lamar Advertising. They actually applied for 2 commercial sign locations. One is actually located on Share Avenue, which is commercial, but also actually abuts a residential subdivision, another multi-apartments over there on Share, Harris Road corridor. Totally inappropriate in regards to that zoning classification under any circumstances. The other location, the property is actually zoned for that purpose. The township has had in place for a number of years a sign number limitation as to how many signs can actually be erected in the township. During the lawsuit, the township also looked at our existing sign ordinance, and we started including it into somewhat of a overhaul. And I think that Ben Carlisle and the Carlisle Group is going to be reworking some of these issues going forward. In this context of the lawsuit, it was agreed that because the sign location on Watson Street is actually in the industrial zoning classification and did meet the setback requirements necessitated by the ordinance, that we would agree to allow that sign to be constructed in exchange for obviously any withdrawal in regards to the location on Share Avenue. And at the same time, there was an agreement that they would not challenge the township's numerical sign limitation going forward, and that withdrawal of the application on Share Avenue would be with prejudice. In other words, it could not be resubmitted at a future date. So for that reason, there's no money being exchanged here beyond the fact that each side is responsible for their own fees. In exchange for that, the township is recommending that we go forward and allow this sign to be constructed on the Watson, which again does meet our zoning district and does meet our setback requirements. It is a conflict with our numerical limitation on signs, and that's going to be addressed in the overhaul of our existing sign ordinances and other codes that are being addressed by Ben Carlisle again. So for all those reasons, Mr. Otis has requested that the Township Board consider this evening. I have reviewed this. I've sent many letters on this in terms of background to all board members, and for all the reasons that I've tried to summarize this evening in previous letters, it would be my recommendation that the Township Board accept the terms of this consent judgment so as to allow then the Carlisle Group to start updating all of our ordinances, especially the ones that have more of immediate concern with.
Do you need a motion? Yeah. I would make a motion that we authorize to approve the consent judgment between Lamar Advertising of Michigan Incorporated and the Charter Township of Ypsilanti.
Second.
We have a motion by Rose, support by Monica Ross Williams. Is the lawyer here? Doug? No. I find it offensive that they can just do whatever they want with signs, but I know they can, right? They have a... What about content? That's I'm kind of, for their future sign, want to make sure.
You're getting into content issues that's already controlled by the U.S. Supreme Court in that regard. This is more about the location of the sign. And again, the Share Avenue location is one that we would have fought all the way through if we had to, because it's not appropriate for a zoning district. This one does meet the criteria. There is an issue about the numerical limitation that we have on signs. There's some vagaries as to what that number is and where that number is located. And so there were some issues with that, and we protected the neighborhoods by making sure that doesn't go forward, but at the same time we'll address the issue of our numerical sign limitation and bring that back. In terms of the content, that's pretty much going to be controlled by the U.S. Supreme Court's rulings.
I was afraid of that. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The next item is the first reading of Moonstar Leasing LLC, rezoning requests of parcels K1101, 100, 025, K1101, 100, 027, K1101, 100, 029, K1101, 100, 030, located at the northwest corner of East Michigan Avenue and Holmes Road from B3 General Business to I1 Light Industrial. Clerk Rowe, could you read this?
Well, I'll make a motion and then I'll read it. I'd move that we deny the Moonstar Leasing LLC rezoning request of parcels K1101, 100, 26 and K1101, 100, 027 and K1101, 100, 029 and K1101, 01130, located at the northwest corner of East Michigan Avenue, Holmes Road, from B3 General Business to I1 Light Industrial, based on the recommendation of the Planning Commission and also on the recommendation of the planning consultants.
Support.
The motion by Rowe, supported by Doe, to deny, I'm sorry, to deny the application. Clerk Rowe, would you like to read the information?
Yes, I would. We have a memo that's to me from Ben Carlisle, our township planner, dated May 1st, regarding the request to regarding this issue that's on the agenda. And it states an application was submitted to rezone 4 parcels, 3045 Homes and 3075, 3089, and 3097 East Michigan Ave, from B3 General Business to I1 Light Industrial. If rezoned, the proposed use of the site is for a private truck terminal with a warehousing building and an administrative building, a truck wash, an above-ground diesel filling station, a truck repair shop, overnight truck parking, and a rest area building. However, if rezoned, the rezoning would allow all principal use permitted uses and uses permitted subject to special conditional in the I1 light industrial zone. Those uses range from manufacturing to farming to auto body repair and to metal plating. The analysis by staff on page 2 of the letter states that staff has recommended that the Planning Commission recommend denial of the proposed rezoning based on the following findings. Number 1, the proposed rezoning is not consistent with the 2014 Master Plan update, the future land use map, and the Ecorse Road and East Michigan Avenue corridor plan. Number 2, the proposed rezoning is not compatible with the site's physical, geological, hydrological, and other environmental features. Number 3, all uses permitted in the proposed zoning district I-1 are not compatible with the surrounding uses and zoning in terms of land suitability, impacts on the environment, nature of use, aesthetics, and potential influence on property values compared to uses permitted under the current B3 zoning. Number 4, the township has sufficient land that is appropriate zoned and available to meet the demand for the types of uses that are permitted in the I-1 district. Then it references to see April 18, 2017 staff report for more details.
So the Planning Commission voted, right?
Yes, the Planning Commission did consider the matter on April 25, 2017, and at that meeting, the Planning Commission accepted the staff report. They listened to a presentation from the applicant. They held a public hearing, and they considered public comment. After discussion, the Planning Commission voted 5-0 to recommend denial of the rezoning. Staff supports the Planning Commission's recommendation to deny the proposed rezoning at the northwest corner of East Michigan and Holmes Road. Thank you for your consideration. Benjamin R. Carlisle, AICP, Ypsilanti Township's planner.
Is the petitioner present? Yes. Would you like to speak? If you go to the microphone and, yes, please, and give your name and address, and just remember the person typing the minutes, they're not in the room, so.
No problem. My name is Doug Swadish. The last name is S-W-A-T-O-S-H. My address is, my office is in Romulus. It's 36510 Goddard Road, Romulus, Michigan, 48174. I've been retained to represent the petitioner with respect to their application. Just, I guess, briefly, with respect to the current B3 zoning, across the street, Michigan Avenue is I-1. That's a DTE service facility. On the other side of Ridge Road is an I-1. That's the Ypsilanti Township building. I don't know exactly what it's used for as I sit here right now. In addition, we have a gas station, a car wash, a carry-out chicken restaurant, I believe, that sits between Holmes and Michigan Avenue. There's a fraternal lodge. It sits adjacent to the property on the west. And then there's a asphalt company, which has its, my understanding, it's an asphalt company which has its offices to the east. The rezoning to an I-1 is not going to impact these businesses. It's not going to decrease their use. We don't believe it's going to decrease their property value. In fact, we think that the I-1 is consistent with the current uses, especially across the street. I appreciate that the township has a vision for the Michigan Avenue corridor, and that, we have a 2001 master plan, and that was updated in 2014. However, I would submit that that vision and that corridor really should not extend beyond Ridge Road. Given the current uses that go from Ridge to the eastern border of the county along Michigan Avenue, it's unlikely, I think, that you're going to see the development that the county hoped when they, or the township hoped when they had, or they amended the master plan in 2014. Nor does changing this to an I-1 and allowing that sort of section of the Michigan Avenue continue to develop as an industrial area impact everything that's west of Ridge Road and that potential urban corridor and the multifamily and everything else that the township hopes to develop west of Ridge Road. The current B3 use, the way the property is shaped, we feel is problematic for a current B3 use. The property sits, it's four separate parcels that will have to be combined to do any type of development there. The parcels themselves are approximately 165 feet wide, running east to west along Michigan Avenue homes, but they run 1,300 feet back. So to do any type of business there, whether it's retail, restaurant, or otherwise, you're going to come up, you're basically rendering the back two-thirds of that property useless because you're going to have your storefronts, your offices, your whatever on the front coming off of homes in Michigan Avenue. They're not going to need to extend 1,300 feet back. So that's problematic from a current development standpoint as a B3. In addition, for a multi-family type development, as is contemplated in the 2014 updated master plan, I think you run into issues as far as the same problems as going back 1,300 feet. You've got two parcels that are 165 feet wide that actually come up to Holmes Road, I believe. Even if you were to put a road in there at 66 feet for a private road, you're still have very little on either side of that until you get back farther. There's another portion of the parcel that comes up to Michigan Avenue that's only 90 feet wide. You could put a road in there running back, but you still run into substantial development problems. So what we submit is that it's not, while we appreciate the vision that the township had, it's not likely that this is going to, in the next whatever years, develop into this particular plot, and this, maybe even this area is going to develop into what the county envisioned. So, we have a gentleman who's interested in putting in a facility there. It has to go through planning, but from what I've seen, it's going to look very nice. It's going to bring some jobs, whether it's 15, 20, 30, 40, to this area, and it'll be beneficial for both, for the township to have something there instead of vacant lot, which realistically, because of its shape, it's going to be difficult to develop in the future.
Thank you. Are there any comments of the petitioner or questions of the petition?
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
just a comment, not necessarily, but I do really appreciate all of your thoughts and for all of you being here tonight. I, as you all know, live over in that area and see it every day. And we do have residential areas that are along that Holmes Road area. We also have a long-standing farmers market, the Coleman's Farmers Market, like butts up right to those parcels. And it's also the main entrance coming from Canton right into our township. And so, I appreciate everything you said, but I really do want to stick by our master plan, and I think that our township has been and will continue to be visionary in our developments.
If I can, I appreciate what you're saying, and I think the problem that you're having, though, is directly across the street. You have the DTE servicing, so that's prohibitive, I think, again, for multifamily going into where you've got the future projected use. And as far as the residential, it's zoned residential north of this property, I believe. And you've got three strips that are current, three properties that are similarly situated in that they're very narrow as they run along Ridge Road, and they extend out substantially to, I don't know how far they extend, but to basically the end of my client's property. And future development of that, I don't think, given the shape of those properties, is not likely to be residential. It's going to sit, it's not vacant because they're using the the portion that's up by Ridge Road, but they're only going back in their use as far as their residence is a couple hundred feet, I believe, and then it sits vacant. So again, I don't think you're going to have a substantial residential development in that area. I think, yes, as you get west of Ridge, absolutely, but this little sort of sect, coming off of Ridge, I don't think it's going to happen. I appreciate that the township itself has a vision, and I don't think it's a, again, I don't want to stand here and I think it's a great idea in concept. I just think in practice and in reality, where this particular property sits, it's not likely to happen, and what you're going to end up with is you're going to have continued vacant land that's just going to sit there and not be useful.
Can I just ask, just as a question, or for my own knowledge, is this the type of law that you always practice, is business development?
It is not.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions of the petitioner? Do you represent the owners or the developer? That's one thing I wasn't clear.
I'm sorry, the owner is who I represent.
Oh, okay.
The two of them obviously they're in agreement as to how they want to proceed, but I was retained by the current owner of the property.
And how long has they been the current owner?
I don't see him here. It's my understanding he's owned it for about 3 or 4 years, but I do not have firsthand knowledge of that. And it's also my understanding that he's been trying to sell this for 6 or 7 months before he got an offer. But please don't take my word as gospel. I do not know for sure.
No, I'm not. I was just wondering, and I too appreciate your attendance at the meeting. I have to concur with the Planning Commission that to follow the zoning or the future land use is the best way to move forward at this point. We are going to have other meetings for Michigan Avenue Corridor for economic development, and that would be the time to bring all the business owners and the land owners together to look at that corridor. I do know at one time Myers was interested in that corner. So across the street is light industrial. It was before anyone here, and I've been here 29 years, and if I could have done it differently, we would have. But it was adjacent to the railway, and that's why they did all those industrial properties on that side. I think there's a movement, there's a change, and there's some fresh opportunity for a lot of the landowners and the residents in the township. I disagree with it not developing. I think it will. There's a real need for residential development in that corner to support the commercial. And the mixed urban use, I think, is very appropriate for that parcel of land. But it's very nice to meet the owners, and I hope when we have our meeting that everyone can come out and attend and give input into that.
Madam Chair, just one last thing, and I know that this was read in Mr. Carlisle's memo, but just there are other areas within our township that are zoned this way already that would be suitable for that. So we hope that you'll consider still doing business in Ypsilanti Township.
So we have a motion and support. Is there any more comments from the petitioner or from anyone in? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries to deny the rezoning. Number 4 is a request of Michael Radzik, Director, Office of Community Standards, to approve 2 contracts with the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office to facilitate collaborative sharing of school resource deputies for summer months with Lincoln Consolidated Schools and Ypsilanti Community Schools in the amount of $52,432, which is budgeted.
Support.
Motion Rowe, support Doe, to authorize our annual contract, and this is the first annual contract for the new board members, where we help out the schools help out the community, and we have 2 more officers in the summertime working in Ypsilanti Township. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the request of Michael Sarin, the Hydro Operations, for approval of an access agreement between Willow Run Business Center 2 LLC and Insight Real Estate, the Washtenaw County Water Resource Commission in Ypsilanti Township for construction activities related to the Tyler Pond drawdown.
Move to approve.
Support.
Motion Doe, support Rowe. Are there questions or comments?
Gerald Rowe.
Pardon me?
Gerald Rowe. Just for the minute.
J-R-O.
I got it.
Heather Rowe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is request of Jeff Allen, Residential Service Director, for approval of professional services contract with Happy Design for architectural services, including plans, bid documents, and oversight of the bidding process in compliance with ADA guidelines at the Civic Center in the amount of $5,000, which is budgeted in line item 101-956-000-801-000.
I would so move we approve the request as outlined on the agenda and include contingent on the attorney's approval of the contract.
Support.
The motion by Rowe, support by Eldridge. Are there questions or comments?
Just one, Madam Chair. I know I'm kind of being a stickler on this contract, but, and also hopefully that will be included that if any worker sees over $5,000, that they would put in that $120 an hour rate, just for legal purposes. I'm not a lawyer, but.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 7 is a request of Jeff Allen, Residential Services Director, for approval of agreement with MSDS Online for online storage of safety data sheets, SDS, in the amount of $1,000 per year for 3 years and $1,000 for the initial data input, which is budgeted in line item 101-227-000-960-000.
Move to approve.
Support.
Motion by Doe, support by Eldridge to approve the contract. Other questions or comments? It's another step towards safety. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a request to approve second agreement with the Washtenaw County Road Commission for local road improvements in Partridge Creek subdivision on Forest Avenue between Ford Boulevard to Midway Road and Emerson Avenue and Outer Lane as outlined in the agreement, in an estimated amount of $132,300 and budgeted in line item 101-446-000-818-022.
So move.
Second.
Motion Rowe, seconded by Ross Williams. Questions or comments regarding the road improvement? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9 is Resolution 2017-09, temporary road closure request for Oberrun, is that the beer? 5K on July 14th, 2017. Is that
Move
beer?
to approve.
Support.
Motion Joe, support
Eldridge.
Eldridge. Is that Oberrun?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that beer.
Michigan.
This is the annual event?
No, it's not.
It's not?
No.
It's the beer's Oberon, but there is actually a run. It's a 5K. My friends have signed up for it. I think it's whatever, guys.
Okay. Well, I think it is too, so. This is for the temporary road closure for Merritt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2710 is temporary road closure request for Running Fit. Run, Scream, Run, 5K, 10K, and Kids Mile Run on October 7th, 2017.
Motion to support.
So motion to approve the resolution,
Support.
support by Eldridge. This is the annual event that they have every year, right?
Right.
And so
That one was new.
they're doing a new one? The same route, probably? Just asking.
Yes.
I'll find out later. I might run it or
Nice.
walk it.
It's cute.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, just one point of clarification. I wanted to make sure I was reading it right first, but it does say October 7th, 2016. Is it 2017 later in the, that I'm missing?
It's probably
Huh?
it's probably a typo.
Okay,
Well,
must
it
be.
can be 16.
Yeah, that's what I was,
Oh,
I was
okay.
thinking, I'm like, maybe a typo. So, just wanted to,
So we need to correct
Yep.
the resolution.
Yes, ma'am. was just going to make sure that was a Saturday.
Duly noted, and thank you for
It's probably the 4th.
recognizing it. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, the 7th. Yeah, it's a Saturday. It's the 17th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 11, Resolution 2017-12 in honor of National Pollinator Week, which is June 11th through the 17th of 2017. We have to adopt this every year in order to continue with our Bee City designation.
So moved.
Support Eldridge. Support
Support.
Gerald. Oh, support Doe. All right. Any questions regarding that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The last item is a request to set a public hearing date of Tuesday, June 20th at approximately 7 p.m. for an amendment to Lakeview Streetlight District Number 207.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Rowe, supported by Ross Williams. Are there questions regarding that? This is an actual new,
This is,
not an amendment to an existing, it's
well,
the new one, right?
I think Brian said we could amend it because the other one was done by board action. This is actually their third streetlight district in there, or third request. This is for Butts, Rhonda Butts. We originally did the one that they did with petitions, which was pretty large. Then they came back and they wanted 2 more lights, and so we did that one, number 207, by board action. And Brian said since we'd done the other one by board action, that we could just add this one because it'd be board action too. The other one was 2 lights added, and now they decided they wanted 2 more.
They didn't have to have petitions to do that?
No, we didn't do it. Yeah, no, not if we can do it the other. We can do it by board action. We still got to notify everybody, and that's what we did. That's what we did at the number 207. That's what we did for that one. We did it by board action. We added 2 lights.
You'll have all the information for the next one because
We sent everything
I know
out.
we do it for cameras, but I didn't think we did it for streetlights.
I think that might have been the first one that we did. Like, wait, do you remember, Lisa? I think that was.
Anyways, we'll get the history on it, right?
Yeah. Sure will.
I just have one question going back to the fireworks in Augusta Township. Are we going to be responsible also for fire department help, assistance? Because if they're going to do fireworks, I'm not sure what they have for a fire department, but that would be a
that's a good
consideration.
question. They have a fire department. They
Okay.
do have, it's an on-call fire department, but if there's a fire, everyone's going to come out.
Okay.
We need to vote on the motion.
She asked a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a motion and support.
I didn't mean that.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Who made that motion? Who was it? Doe and who? Doe and who? Doe and Jimmy? I'm sorry. Doe and Mr. Wilson.